You need to ring the bell.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, maybe this is a good moment for you to introduce yourself, if you wanted to introduce
We'll
yourself.
say who you are first.
Yes, I am Melisa. I'm here because I've always walked around your house and I've seen it, and I thought, oh, I wonder if someone lives there one day. I'll be able to knock the door. And so I just wanted to, yes, know a little bit about the place.
Okay. My name's Susan and I've lived here for about 45 years and I'm glad that you knocked on my door. I can tell you about the house. Please come in.
Oh, thank you.
When people, I'll be out, maybe out in the garden and people walk past and they say hi. And sometimes they'll directly come out and ask, you know, is your house haunted?
So part of me is in this house, part of my family is in this house as well, and has been for a long time now. And so if I could come back as a ghost in a spirit or something in 30, 40 years time and see how the house was going then and who was living here and what sort of life they lived, that would be really interesting. And because it's such an old house, I'm pretty sure that it's going to still be here. There's a council heritage listing on it anyway. So the actual building I don't think can be knocked down. So whoever moves in can do what they like to the inside and probably to the back, but it has to stay because of its historic interest. Because I think the person who originally built it, he was a brickmaker. And Brunswick was the main source of bricks and clay for the whole of Melbourne. And also there was bluestone here, and this house has a bluestone foundation and is built of bluestone because that's what was found in Brunswick. So that's why so many of the houses have got connections to Brunswick.
And he had some of his employees, he brought people out from where he came from initially, and they lived here and they lived upstairs, and they worked for him from this house.
And from the front gate to the back of the property he concreted, and this here is about the last bit of concrete that's left, so I'm very happy to leave it growing moss and weeds in the garden. And the bluestone that you see there all came out of the house when we built a big back room kitchen. So that's part of what's originally used to build the whole house. I just feel a very benign, quiet, welcoming place to be. It just feels calm. I don't know.
Yeah.
If people have contributed that, I know that it's been a riotous place at times when it was a group house, had really interesting people living here. But the original person was an industrialist and a well-off person who had servants working for them. And then there was someone who came out as a migrant, and he eventually started bringing people out and having people working for him, and he was interested in making lots of money. So different people have lived here, but the feeling of the house, whether it's absorbed it from who have lived their lives, people who have lived their lives here, or I don't know how you get feelings in houses, but it feels like a place where people who have lived here have lived the lives they've wanted to and have been happy here. I'd certainly probably hang around on the roof. If I had choices, I never thought of ghosts having choices, then yes, I would. I think I wouldn't be able to resist flitting past. So we have to go through that room up there, and so yeah, but there's not. You can see out the front, you can see out the back, and you can see the city.
Okay.
But yeah, you can. I'll show you what it's like, but it's grim.
You guide me. Green is beautiful.
Okay, well you better take your camera with you.
Yep.
I guess places that mean something to you, whether they're houses or landmarks or countries or particular spots set somewhere, you want to think of them. I want to think of them as continuing to be the sort of place where you were happy.
Yeah.
I was born in my grandmother's house in Scotland, and every now and again I go online and do Google Earth and look at the house because it's still there. And I remember that house, and it's still exactly as it was when I was born nearly 80 years ago. My dad's mother. The houses where so many people grew up.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the people moving back into Brunswick grew up in some of the houses that no longer exist.
Yeah.
So that my feeling would be that it's sad and surprising. I guess that it would, if it was a house, that it wouldn't be lived in still. Been lots of digging up, so there's been bits of china, which you always find, you know, the willow pattern china and other bits of glass and some bottles and things like that we've found over the years. But any house, probably going back to the turn of the century, well, certainly the 20s and then last century, you'll find stuff like that, which is nice. When the sun comes in during daylight, I've got some photos that I've taken with the shadow of the patterns that it makes, the shadows on the ceiling when the light's not on, when the light's just coming through the window. Yeah, the light is interesting in this house. I had a collection in both of the windows, and they were different shapes, and mostly they just made their way around in this room, with a few that wandered out into this little open space here. But one day I was coming through, and I happened to glance over at the far wall that is a bluestone, part of the structure of the house. And the bluestone was, there was nothing in front of it, and it had been recently cleaned, so there was no dust on it, no cement. And there was this huge single prism, really clearly defined, very strong bands of colour. And I took a photo of it, but I'm not sure where it is at this stage. But it was an amazing photo, and I've only ever seen one other. Oh, there it is. And the one on the wall was at least as bright as this and better defined. Hey, gorgeous. Hello, little one. Oh, and the front door's open. You want to go out the front door? Go on. So the birds are important, and I still hear the caroling, but not as much. But they used to come over and they'd sit on the back fence and they'd carol to say, "Where are you?" every single day. So I think of the magpies when I think of this house. And sometimes when I was coming home, just walking down the street, on my way home before I turned around the corner, they'd see me and they'd start caroling and flying over. So that was particularly welcoming. So I hope that the occupants get the same sort of treatment from whichever magpies are living around when they're here. That's a very strong connection to this house in my head.
Yeah.
And that's magic land. It's a home. It feels like a home.
Because I think people who've been here, whether they've left or passed, that's been in the time that was right for them, and that's how it will feel to me.
Yes.
Well, that's lovely. That's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.